Welcome to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, your guide to motorsports sponsorship. Here's your host, Josh Weesey.
Welcome to episode 137 of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, which is powered by AMSOIL. Today's show is best described as being just wild and wacky. I don't really know a better way of putting it. Ami Houde came back on. The last time you saw her was episode 7, back when I was just figuring this whole thing out. So it's been over 130 episodes since she was on, but we connected, and I had a structure, I had a strategy, I had a thought process, I had an outline, and 5 seconds into the interview, we basically crumpled that up, threw it away, and went down this whole new fun path. So listen to it. Let me know your feedback. Head over to iTunes, leave that rating and review, and then whatever podcast player you use, go ahead and subscribe. But before I get into the interview with Ami, there's a few other things I want to cover. One is AMSOIL, and specifically the King of the Hammers event. They rocked it out there. I really appreciate that AMSOIL took the time to put so much into that event. A number of racers were supported by AMSOIL, and they got to test out some of their severe gear oil and a number of their other products. Really cool to see that. I love it when companies go out and just provide support for these types of events, and obviously for racers too. I mean, that's what this show is about, providing support to riders and racers like you. That's a big deal. So I appreciate their support there. I do also want to take a minute to thank the other sponsors for this podcast. SolderWeld, they produce game-changing metal bonding technology. TopThePodium.com, they're experts in motorsports sponsorship. Bold Racing, they're a family race team and GSP XTV axle specialist. And then Crash Addict Industries, they provide human protection and extreme racing products. I also want to shout out some of our other partners, including MBRP, who is also really well represented at King of the Hammers, and Jared Heshka was able to navigate in that event. That was his first race like that, so really cool to see him out there. HMK USA, Studboy Traction, and of course, GSP XTV. Without further ado, let's hop in. I feel like last time we did this, it was roughly 2 years ago, and you were in an airport or something.
I was, you're right.
Yeah, it was crazy, but we made it work.
We did, and I feel like that's exactly what we've been doing this time as well. And I apologize. We've had some technical difficulties, some tour life, incidences here, and life's been crazy. And you think you would kind of slow down when you reach this weird age of 30,
yeah,
but it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for that. I'm very thankful, but at the same time, I really appreciate stuff like this, and I was really excited to do this podcast again, just because I think 2 years, holy smokes, the difference 2 years can make in a person's career and life, and what I wanted to talk about, and maybe I remember the stuff we talked about before too, and back then it was motor adventures and social media, and it was a very different, I think I had different advice. And I told you that in the email. I'm
yeah.
I think we got some different stuff to talk about nowadays.
Definitely. I think we can just go ahead and roll right into this thing, too, because, a lot of what you talked about.
We already were rolling right in.
We are. Or we did. We definitely are now.
Perfect.
We are. We're all good.
You know how we roll.
This is how we roll.
Perfect.
No, last time, we were discussing how you've taken your social media and put your own personal spin on it. You're giving people advice about, don't forget education and don't forget your plan B if things don't work out.
Yeah.
Be prepared for the next step. I thought that was really good stuff, but, a lot has changed in the past 2 years. So let's kind of talk about that. I mean, what has happened to you since then? That was episode 7, by the way, and I'm not sure exactly what number this is going to be when it comes out. Probably 137, 138. So what's happened to you?
Well, you know what? I kind of want to start this off because I'm glad we brought that recap up. I remember because, you were one of the very first interviews that I did that I got to actually think about things in that retrospect.
Mm-hmm.
I really like what your podcast talks about. I like that you can educate people from, you know, different walks of motorsports life, if you will, you know, two-wheel, four-wheel, whatever it is, and different areas are, you know, different
disciplines.
I don't want to say, well, not even just different. I don't like to say different levels of people's career, because it's not really a level playing field. It's maybe like, you know, walks of the journey, if you will, like, you know, wherever the twist and turn your path may lead, because what I've come to know is that the level that you want to get to is still at the bottom of someone else's, you know, like there's no level. It's just the journey, you know. I think I've been, in the last 2 years, if I could break it down for you, I could say humbled. All I can do is ever now express gratitude and thankfulness, and kind of take a introspective view on my career, and learn how I've gotten here, and, you know, reflect on what makes it special. It's not a goal anymore. It's more like actually I made a post. Can I look at that? I know I'm going to take time, but
do it.
Every time I post something, I actually think about it for a little while, and I make sure it's like, sometimes it'll take a day. If there's something I know I want to say, and maybe I'll look at Pinterest and get some ideas and stuff, but I always want to keep it real. Like, you know when something's fake. Yes. You know when somebody is writing something that's not like what they want to say. And I wrote something today, and sometimes I just go and post something because it's exactly what I'm feeling at that time. And I know I preached that before about keeping it real. And I believe that if somebody can take anything out of this podcast today, it is that authenticity will give you longevity in whatever you choose to do. If you stay true to yourself and you act, you know, within, you know, exactly what you want to say without, you know, any, like, don't hold back. Don't be afraid to be your true self, whether it's on social media, in person, within your job, on YouTube, whatever medium it is, or just with yourself. Be true to yourself and what you want in your career and who you are, and you will find longevity, success, and happiness. And let that be the underlying message of this. Okay, so to start this off, you know, I did a post on Facebook. I don't like to use any other social media than Instagram. Okay, there's too much going on. I don't snap the chat. I don't know how to do all those things. I don't know. I am a social media guru. I like to say I kind of try to understand it, but there's you don't need 27,000 different platforms to get your message across, to be direct, and to make it easy for your fans and you know, followers. Like, choose one. Like, all you need is one. Be real. Don't be fake through Snapchat and then you'll fake real on Instagram. It's confusing for people, and it might you know, kind of people don't know which one is you, you know? So I like to just have one so people know that's who I am. That is me. But on Facebook, I wanted to post something because I know my family and some older people follow me on there, and it's been a while. And so I did one general recap of 2019 as it is. And I said 2019, posted a bunch of cool photos that I like. And then I said, our lives can go from ordinary to extraordinary to unimaginable. With a dream, passion, hard work, kindness, gratitude, perseverance, and a whole lot of self-belief, we can live a life filled with meaning beyond our wildest dreams, finding purpose. So,
did you write that?
You know, that
was all from the heart?
Absolutely.
That was good. I like it.
I think now I stopped worrying about what I wanted to say, and I just say it. And I'm like, I don't even know if this makes sense at the time, but it makes sense if it comes from the heart. It always does, because your soul doesn't lie. Like, you know, what your heart and your gut tells you is, you know, what it's meant to tell you. And I think in the last 2 years, I really learned that. And I learned that, you know, for a long time, I was kind of, and everybody will in their career, they choose a goal. And you started out, and when I first talked to you, I wanted to make a name for myself. I wanted to grow my platforms. I wanted to, you know, create a brand around what I was doing. There was Moto Adventurous, Moto Chicks, Girls Who Ride, you know, whatever it may be, the Ami Houde brand or whatever. You know, you need to start off by building something and growing something and having a goal and an idea, and then you kind of run with it. And you either chase, you know, if you're growing a podcast, you're chasing, you want to create a lot of content. You want to, bang out these interviews because that's the only way to get better is by doing a lot of them and meeting a lot of people. You need to grow your platform. So you need to get those followers. You need to grow, you can't do it for free forever. You want to be able to make a living off of it. So you're chasing all these different things. But hey, if it turns out that you hate talking on the radio, you're never going to find success. If you don't like what you do and you don't generally feel like you can grow as a person, and if it does not fill you with meaning, you're not going to find success in it. And I've learned that, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought I was going to be a dirt biker from, my life. I wanted to be a pro chick motocross racer. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make a living on dirt bikes. And that's why I used to always say, you got to be flexible. You don't know where it goes, but maybe that's what I wasn't meant to do. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Monster Jam now in the 2.5 years, I think I found my meaning, my purpose, and I'm super fortunate. I think I found what ultimately I was put on this earth to do, be an entertainer, be a great athlete, but I'm here to inspire people, be my true self, and have a platform to be able to do it on, and Monster Jam has given me that. So.
Oh, that's perfect. One note that I wanted to pull out real quick was when you were talking about, I think you said you always see someone else that's like, when you're at your best, you see someone else that you haven't quite reached yet. And I call that compare and despair. I actually learned that from another podcaster, John Lee Dumas. Yeah. And he says it all the time, compare and despair. So every time you compare to somebody else, it's never going to turn out the way you want it to. It might give you some motivation, which is good, right? If you want to push yourself a little bit harder, that's fine. Especially thinking about on the racetrack, that person that's a little bit faster than you, okay, that's good stuff. But there's a certain point where it doesn't actually make you any happier, and that's a challenge. The next thing that you were just kind of talking about is being more genuine and who you are. And I recently went back in time and listened to a bunch of my older episodes. I actually put together a compilation episode, and I listened to all these older ones and pulled out some of the, the really good content from them. And listening to me, episode 4, 5, 6, 7 to now, I am a whole different person. I used to be, I don't know how to explain it. I think I was trying to force my my pace to be slower, and I was trying to really enunciate things. But that's not even what I do in real life. And you could tell, it's just a little fake. I don't know. It's weird.
You know what? If I can tell you, no, you know what? This is awesome. I love that you say that, because then I would say, knowing you and watching this baby of a podcast and a brand, watch it kind of evolve, and talking to you then, talking to you now, and I appreciate the fact that you did not just write me off because of these technical difficulties that I had, because I felt very bad. I did, absolutely. I'm there's no reason this guy, for those listening, the first time we set up this interview, I had just come home and I had gotten pretty hurt, and I had a horrible headache, and I get migraines really easily, and I was so excited to do this interview because I was excited to talk about how my career has gone. Mm-hmm. I was excited, very thankful that someone kept in touch with, what I've done for a couple of years and wanted to talk to me. It's awesome. Heck yeah. And man, I got the worst headache, and I was just miserable, and I just felt like I could not give you what I wanted to tell you with enthusiasm. And then the next time, I dropped my phone. Everybody listening already knows that I never have a cell phone. It breaks every minute. I can have a life proof, Amy proof case. It won't matter. It's Amy gone proof. Every day. But this guy gave me another chance, and he kept. I wanted to, so I hope, I was like, hey, do you still want to talk to me today? And I appreciate that. And the fact that you did not write me off shows how you are genuine. So whether you go back and listen to what you did at first, what you did now, I almost don't even want to listen to my interviews, but sometimes I watch the videos. But it's we were all learning at the beginning, just like dirt bikes. Okay, we suck. You're gonna get beat. People are gonna we're not going to be good at first. It doesn't mean that you're not as true and authentic as you are trying to be, but we all got to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like people got to be kinder to themselves and appreciate the progress. And I think where we can go and start to evaluate who we are in our own progression comes with how we think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can appreciate people in, a 2-year-old interview of maybe sounding a little off, not knowing what to say and being weird and awkward to what it is now. And it's not that you were fake. I just think that the fact that you've kept with it and can appreciate the fact that you sucked and bring it up and, talk openly about it just shows your genuine realness, man. Like, that's cool. It is so hard to find people like that nowadays who know when they suck and can just laugh at it. Like, it's cool. Everybody sucks.
Yeah.
If we can create a world kind of around us that appreciates the suckiness that is progression, people like to make fun of people who fail, make fun of people who are trying. That is the struggle of my life. When I started Amy and Jamie Adventures, so I had more haters than I had appreciators, and I had more people calling me out. I wanted to make a video. It's coming. The comments that I get on those videos that, we're doing more high-fiving than riding, and, we're just, our boyfriends are riding our dirt bikes, and we don't even race and just hit one jump over and over again. Yeah, we do. Mm-hmm. We high-five more because it's really hard to film yourself riding, but that's what it is, and that's what comes with this journey of, self-creation or whatever it is, or to be better versions of ourselves. But if we can't applaud other people's struggles, and everyone's going to quit. Like, I hate this industry is that people just get so down on people who are hustling and struggling, and it almost, makes people, it creates this weird environment that people don't want to keep trying when they fail, nah, you pick yourself up, tighten your ponytail, and you keep going. Like, it's okay. Like, the struggle is real, and then eventually you'll get there. And I think that it's important to remind people that, hey, I am still a girl from Winnipeg, Manitoba. I am chilling in my parents' basement right now because I'm currently on tour renting my house out to make more money. But it's real. Like, social media is not all sunshine and rainbows. We're still all super real people. And, to struggle is part of it. But it's cool and awesome, and it makes you real and authentic.
I feel like a bunch of people right now, I know I shifted over to my couch. I'm laying down on my couch now, like you would if you're talking to a psychiatrist. I feel like we're all in that state right now. Like, let's just relax and think about who we are. Let's make some changes in life. This is it. We'll send you the check too. Check's in the mail. Check is in the mail.
Oh man, but don't even, because it's one of those. Okay, have you ever heard people? And again, I don't want to hate on anybody's stuff. Like, I feel like awkward trying to make jokes online because I don't want people to take anything the wrong way, and the internet is oversensitive and stuff. But I want to say, the people who are them life coaches.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Does any of us really have it figured out? Like,
right.
I like to preach that sometimes I think I know what's going on, but I really don't, and I make mistakes all the time. And I always like to say I'm semi-adulting because one day we got it figured out and one we don't. So take everything that I say with a grain of salt, because I am still figuring out. I still don't know, if I'm going to drive monster trucks for the rest of my life. I like it. I love it. I mean, I still like two wheels a lot, but I don't know, like, where do you want to grow your podcast? Like, what was your end goal for all this? Like, did you want to take it to radio, TV? Like, what did you want to do?
I wanted this show to become like the go-to resource for, all things motorsports marketing. I want to have a big audience. I want Jim Beaver to come over and be like, hey, what's up, man? Like, welcome to Podcast One. Like, glad to have you on the team. Just.
What advice do you have for us today?
Oh, me? Wow.
Yeah, like, I feel like that's what you offer. Like, I feel like you get these people who have something to say, I've seen your lineup, man. Like, you got people all over killing it in their different disciplines that, like, I want to know how they made it. Like, what's your advice? What have you been through? What's tell me, help me. I like to listen to not someone just talking about like stuff that can't help me be better at what I do or what I want to do, or how did you get to where you are? And don't you think that all the time? Like if you drive by a big house, don't you say, what do you do for a job? Like how do you sit in that house?
Right.
I think of that at people's careers. Like what did you do to get to where you are? And people want to know.
Definitely. Well, I'll tell you, if anything I've learned of this show, or just I do a lot of self-help reading. It's a little uncomfortable sometimes how much I really spend with that stuff. But like, if you have some story to share or some idea, even if you don't, you probably do. Like, even if you don't think you have something to share, you probably do. Just share it. Like,
oh yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, there's so many avenues now to get your voice out there. It does not need to be perfect. Just like going back to, my first couple episodes, like, I literally, before this, I tell people all the time, I did not really even know podcasts for much more than 6 months before I did my own, and I did not know how to make one. I didn't know any of the software. I didn't know any of it. I didn't even know motorsports marketing. I didn't know motorsports barely. I mean, I rode machines my whole life, but like I did not know the industry. I was like, I'm just gonna do it, and
holy smokes, that's brave. Like,
yeah.
Hey, give yourself a round of applause. Like, I couldn't even imagine going and trying to do something in a career I had no idea. But I mean, you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
You had to have some type of inner, curiosity, and just like a lot of the Monster Jam fans that we see, like these people just love these machines, and they're just captivated by this industry. And on motorsports alone, whatever it is, that need for speed and adrenaline and fuel pumping, and it's exciting, and like it creates these really cool people and stories, and people come from all different stories. Yeah, like you're right. And
all right, I am going to break in the interview here and take a quick minute to thank the sponsors for this podcast. 2 questions I get continuously about this show and about sponsorship is, do I need my own website and do I need a resume? The answer is, in my opinion, yes to both, and that's why we partner with TopThePodium.com. Now, if you want to see an example of what a professional website and what a professional resume looks like, you gotta check out TopThePodium.com. They did my website. The Sponsored Rider Club podcast website is sponsoredriderclubpodcast.com. That was created by Jeff Vanistall of TopThePodium.com. I think it's awesome. I get a lot of good feedback about it. And there's a number of other websites out there that Jeff has produced that are just phenomenal. So I think it's important in this world of social media where you have control of your content. That's what a website does. It gives you full control. We don't know what Facebook's going to do sometimes. We don't know what Instagram's going to do. We don't know what Twitter's going to do. So if we don't have that central location to direct people and house our content, there is some risk that we incur. So I strongly recommend getting a website, talking to TopThePodium.com. And then the resume, again, is massive. And if you want to stand out, get it done professionally. And honestly, it is one of the best ways to step up your game and present yourself in the best way possible.
What's up, everyone? This is Mike Pasquarella, founder of Desert Vets Racing. When the team goes racing, we always have our SolderWeld products with us. Keeping the cars in the fight is our number one concern. With SolderWeld, we can do that. SolderWeld is a leading company in the U.S. for aluminum repair. They specialize in radiator repair on the fly. If you're stuck in the middle of the trail or a race with a hole in your radiator, oil pan, or canister, or even an aluminum line, you can fix it right then and there in a matter of minutes with their AMSOIL aluminum repair rods and flux. It's the only complete and lasting fix in the off-road community. SolderWeld's new UTV off-road kits fit in every ride and are easy to access on the fly.
SolderWeld continues to make a huge positive impact on this industry. So I really encourage you, get in there now. Go to solderweld.us. Check out their products because this stuff is changing the game. Safety is our overriding priority. I hear it all the time, but I have to ask myself, is it though? Is that the first thing we think of? Is that the first thing you think of? Over the past couple of years, we've seen the performance of production UTVs increase, somewhere around 350%. That means these machines give us a lot more opportunity to have fun and win races, but it also, unfortunately, gives us new opportunities to crash. And that's why we have partnered with Crash Addict Industries. The owner, Travis Pointer, became very accustomed to crashing early in his career. He saw it as inevitable, and he set out to make the process safer. With a passion for racing, welding, and engineering, Crash Addict Industries now produces full cage and other protection systems intentionally designed to protect you during an accident on the track. They also offer a line of human protection products through their vendors. Do this for me at this point. If you're racing with a stock cage right now, please go check out crashaddict.com and at least just see what they have to offer. Even if you choose to go with a different company, please make safety your overriding priority. Family race team. Those are the first words that come to mind when I think of Bold Racing. And the next one is actually axles. Bold Racing is a premier distributor of GSP XTV axles. And if that wasn't cool enough, they just came out with an entirely new axle called the Revolution axle. It is a hollow tube axle. It's really cool. If you head over to their website, gspxtv.com, or you can find out more at boldracingltd.com, you can find out how this new axle technology works. So they are saying to view this as a fuse for your drivetrain. So the hollow tube CV axle twist technology actually increases the strength and reliability of the axle, and it also reduces stress on the drivetrain. Plus, honestly, it's super cool looking, and if people know me, they know that I really like cool looking stuff. So they come in this really cool gold color. Check it out. It's absolutely revolutionary. And we will now return to your regularly scheduled programming. Yeah, I actually got an idea here. Have you ever heard, this is going to be a little bit of a stretch here, but have you ever heard of someone named Franz Johansson? If you did, I'd be shocked. Most people don't know him. Franz Johansson?
Tell me about him.
Okay.
I'm more of a,
This guy came up with this theory about how to, I think it's like innovate was his whole shtick, but essentially he said, the best ideas or the best innovations or the things that people are truly, impressed by or shocked by is when you take two seemingly unconnected ideas and you find where they intersect. He gives all these different examples of it, but you find these connection points that nobody else can find. And if you can make
his name down. What is it? How do I spell it?
Oh wow, Franz, Franz, Franz Johansson,
Yep.
Joha.
Wait, let me just type it in my Siri. Ready? Johansson.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Siri.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some of those innovation. I understand that. I'd like to see how do you have an example? We're getting really deep, but I like it because then we can relay this back to this motorsports industry, and I like let's get deep. I like to get deep and uncomfortable. Let's do it. Bring it on.
So for me, I'll tell you about me first, what I did with it, and then I'll tell you about, I think it's termites in buildings. Okay, so we'll get to termites in buildings in a minute. But for me, I looked at it like, all right, I love motorsports in general. I just think it's cool. I didn't really know much about it. I didn't study it necessarily. I definitely didn't study motorsports marketing, but I felt like I had some understanding of business. I'd gotten some professional business education, and I'd spent a lot of time in business. I was like, I think I can combine these two. It's not that crazy. It's not like termites in buildings like I'm going to tell you about in a minute, but it's still different enough where nobody else is talking about it in the same way that that I started talking about it. So that was kind of where I found my little niche. But one of the examples this Franz Johansson gave, and I actually saw him talk about this one live, was he showed us this building that was designed somewhere in the world. I don't think it was the United States, and I don't think it was Canada. Somewhere in the world that uses it, mimicked how I thought it was termites, how they build their home, and it basically uses all geothermal energy and all natural heating and cooling elements, And some architect was like, they built it. They studied how these termites build their homes, and they built this massive building that is like always 70 degrees. It doesn't matter if it's winter or summer, and there's no, HVAC units, there's no heating or cooling sources. It's all just pure natural. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. But that's what this guy did. He said, I'm going to take architectural and I'm
reading about it right now.
Did that same thing?
I'm on Wikipedia right now.
Is it?
I'm reading about it. It says, the concept that innovation happens when disciplines and ideas intersect, or luck and serendipity play a large role in success. To seize opportunities and debunking the 1,000-hour rule and how it should not apply to business. Blah blah blah.
Wow.
Well, is that a contradiction though? That in disciplines and ideas. I mean, I have to look into it a little bit deeper, but when I don't even know, because I almost want to counteract that.
I think
I'd have to dive into this a little bit.
Yeah.
But he says it says the book discusses how luck and serendipity play a large role in success and how to seize opportunities. So wait, we're talking about luck and serendipity. What's the definition of serendipity here? I gotta Google it because
isn't that a movie too?
I'm looking it up here. The occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy and beneficial way. I don't believe that things happen by chance. Okay, and I believe, and as an athlete, I think it's different. I think to have a business mindset and an athlete mindset is two completely different worlds. Because as an athlete, you have a goal. We are not born to, we're born to talk, poop, eat, whatever, right? The basic human instincts to survive. I think as an athlete, we manifest these ideas in our mind of what we want to do with our lives.
Yeah.
And we learn them. And then if something we want to do, we continue to develop our skills and our craft, and we work hard at it every single day. And I can honestly say this, and I would like to challenge him from an athlete perspective, because guess what? I sucked at racing dirt bikes when I started. I got beat all the time. I have lost more races than I won. But just from sucking and getting beat by the boys all the time, that I'm like, okay, I kind of maybe want to go practice more and get a personal trainer. And it was something that got my blood pumping, and it was something that lit my soul up. And I knew that it sparked a fire within me. And if there's something that you want to do, no matter what it is, dance, to build a building, or to be good at something, you just got to have a passion and a fire that burns inside of you. And no matter what the goal is, if you want to be an Olympian, if you want to win X Games, if you just want to be a local, top C rider, or have fun and be able to ride with your kids in the bush, you'll find the way to do it. You will find the drive to get up at 5 a.m. when you work 2 jobs to pay for your, to go and travel to get your pro points to go line up at an outdoor national. You will find that way to get up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. I believe that hard work, dedication, passion, and perseverance is what creates success. And I think that every athlete needs to think that way in order to find that. Hard work beats talent. What did they say? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
That's right.
Okay?
That is right.
It does. Boom. Hashtag.
I found this page. This is the exact book that he was referencing now. So this is Franz Johansson again. I found his website because I had to start Googling stuff too. The Medici Effect. That was the thing he was talking about. And now it might actually lead into what you were just talking about here. So it says, the most powerful innovation happens at the intersection where ideas and concepts from diverse industries, cultures, and disciplines collide. Now I'm thinking of what you were just talking about. You go back 20 years or so, it was unheard of for, women to be super successful and famous in the two-wheeled industry, right? Dirt bikes. And maybe now you look at that and you come up in that world, you're like, no, I have a different thought here. I am not from the exact same environment as all these boys. and I am now coming in with a world-changing, innovative drive, and I'm going to create a unique breakthrough. I'm trying to use the words from the page and work them into my conversation.
And I love that. And I agree. And I just think it again. But what is that? But where does that start from? It starts from someone having a goal and wanting it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like the wheel. Like someone wanted to go chase the ice cream truck and they couldn't do it with a square wheel. They really wanted something and they figured out how to get it. That's what it's about. And that's how I got my job and what I do now. Like, I wanted to drive a monster truck. I needed to fill this. I knew I wasn't going to make, a career and a living riding dirt bikes. And I needed to fulfill this need that I had, this passion and the fire that burns inside of me. I went to university for 5 years. I had the corporate job. I was unhappy. It wasn't what I was meant to do. It was not I did not find meaning to that. I had this void in my life, even though I made bank. I had a great job, was able to, buy a house. I had what a lot of people wanted, but you don't got to go with the norm. You don't got to follow the status quo. If you are missing something in your life and there is this void and you feel unfulfilled, you don't need that big old bank account. You might need to go and live in a tent in the forest and just go be one with wilderness. Chase what sets your soul on fire. Chase what makes you happy. And that's what I've learned, in all of this. Like, I realized that I like to make people's day. I like to share my messages of my personal struggles or whatever. And a lot of people might think it's stupid. I'm preaching or whatever, but I get more gratitude out of, being able to help even one person, maybe one. I don't care. I actually am like, some days stuff I post on Instagram is because maybe I need to give myself a pep talk. I'm not worried. Social media, it can be for someone else. It can be for you. Don't worry about what else other people are doing. Don't worry. That's theirs. It's their reason. It's their journey. Don't worry about it. It doesn't affect you. If you want to look at it. But we should never critique someone else's path. We don't know why they're on it. We don't know what their goal is. But if it's what makes you happy, then man, do it. And if you're not happy, then change it. Life is too short to be grinding in the wrong discipline. If you're chasing the wrong dreams, if your priorities aren't straight and you're not fulfilling your, like I said, if you're not fulfilling yourself, God, you're never gonna be successful. It's so funny because I always wanted to get married and have kids and have this picket fence house and blah blah blah. Like, I'm from a small town in Canada, a small city, but everyone out of high school, everyone out of college, definitely college. A lot of my friends went off and are living great lives and fulfilling their dreams, and it's really cool and motivating to see. And I know a lot of people who are married with children who are so happy because that's what they wanted, and that's what they wanted to do, and that's what fulfills them. And they're being true to who they are. They are figuring it out what makes them happy. But then I see these people who have those six-figure jobs, or who have these families who are just doing it because that's what they think they need to do, and they're unhappy. Like, give yourself a shake, get your priorities straight, figure out what you're going to want in your life to make you happy, man. Like, I don't know, I think I've had a revelation of that too, because I think I've been chasing the wrong thing for a really long time. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm turning 30 in 2 weeks here, but I don't know. But I'm grateful and I'm happy. But it took a long time to get here, and it definitely, my career has changed and gone off in all these weird different directions and stuff. And I still think I can preach what I talked about at first. You got to be able to adapt. You got to be ready for change. Keep your goals flexible, but keep your standards high. The bigger the goal, the bigger the life you're going to have for yourself. I just think you got to reach for those stars and, keep making new ones. And, if something changes, and just be open to saying yes and kick the doors open and crawl through those windows. And, our life is what we fill it with. Like, just go do everything possible. Like, go live. Go do some cool.
was just listening and thinking of, well, a couple of things. But one is Jim Riley has a podcast called The Answer Is Yes podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And you
I
should
love
definitely
Jim
be
Riley.
on that, because that's what his show is all about, is like, let's just do it. Let's make it happen. He gives examples of how that's how he basically shaped his life. But the second thing is, I want people listening. I would love to get a tally of how many people quit their jobs and go and pursue their passion after listening to this interview. I just like shoot me a text or an email if you decided to quit after listening to this show. Now, not if you okay. Now, if it goes bad, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about the good stories.
Well, I mean, going bad is sometimes what we need. Like,
What
I
is
mean,
bad?
I had to hit, like, you got to go through bad to build some character.
Yeah.
You have to go and get, and this is why I love motorsports. This is why I love dirt bikes, and I always preach. You know, I love to talk about the younger generation, and, you know, they're just stuck with their faces in video games nowadays and not making any type of human interaction or learning about the world around them. Go give them a dirt bike and let them fall off of it, you know, into a field of fluffy hay, whatever. But in order to learn about who you are and what we are capable of, we got to hit the ground, get covered in some dirt, and find that, you know, ability. We got to find it within ourselves to pick ourselves back up and get back on and keep going. You know, that is something that is learned, not from your mommy or daddy picking you up. Yeah, you know what? I'm very fortunate to have a great family who has had my back, who has helped me when I'm down. But not everybody has that. But we also got to learn, how to do it on our own. You know, when we're in 250B class, mommy and daddy might not come running out there, dusting us off and patting us on the butt and sending us on our way. But I think it's very important that we hit the ground, eat some mud, and you will learn that about yourself. Like, is this something you want to do? Do you want to be someone who gives up halfway and then find something else, if, you know, knitting or whatever? Or do you want to be a champion within yourself? And either you get up and you dust yourself off and you're like, I don't want this dirt bike. Maybe you get off and you ride back to the pits, okay? Like, you know, or you get up and then you go to the gym and you train and then you go and successfully keep winning. That is what I've learned about myself. I learned that I hate losing. I'm maybe a poor sport a little bit, but I learned that I like to challenge myself and figure out what it's going to take for me to win at the things I failed at. Because if someone else is doing it, you better believe I want to be able to do it too. And I've used that as maybe a benchmark for racing, jobs, love, friendships, everything that's going to come my way. I've related it back to the time that I have eaten on my bike and eaten some dirt and sat there thinking, like, do I want to be the one who gets off and quits this race in front of my friends and my family and myself? Do I want to do that? Or do I want to pick myself up, dust myself off, and finish? And you know what? Whether you finish last or first, everyone around you is going to, you know, everyone's going to clap the fact that you got the courage to do that. But you are going to be proud of yourself, and you're going to build this inner, almost like a warrior that is able to continue to do that and continue to learn how to go from failure to failure without losing that enthusiasm for your goal. And it's awesome, and keep doing it. And that is what sports provides you with, I think. And I really preach parents how to get their kids into sports, whatever it is, to really instill these fundamental characteristics that kids need nowadays to be successful in whatever they do in life.
Oh, definitely. Well,
boom.
Boom.
It gets deep, but I'm passionate about it, and I like to talk about it because, man, I've been through it.
Yeah, I just I had to go grab some cleaning supplies.
Right,
I just, you know, most of my head after it blew up, it made a mess everywhere. I had to clean it up, but I'm good now.
Good. We need you back.
Well, I mean, is there anything else that you want to kind of leave people with? I know you and I had set out to do a certain time limit for the show, and we're getting up on that right now. what else? I mean,
well, I mean, I don't want to keep everything all dark and heavy. I want to have some fun with it too. Like, I mean, I just talk about that because I think people are afraid to be real. And I like that you touched on it before, that everybody's level, like you think you're like cool and stuff, and then someone else's level of cool. Like, as cool as people might think it is, being a popper, having them credentials and the accesses to this thing and being able to get here and be there and having this many Instagram followers, like, it's smoke and mirrors. People, we are all human. My grandpa, okay, I can't believe I'm going to say this on air. I'd like to say it in a more tasteful way, but my grandpa is, very, like I said, I'm fortunate for my family, humbles me. They're amazing. They got to take a poop like everybody else. We are all the same. We all go through ups and downs and the roller coasters of life. If you think that someone with a bunch of followers on Instagram or VIP access to some party or whatever doesn't have to go through breakups and money problems and bad grades in school and drama with your friends and give yourself a shake, like, it's not. You're okay. Like, you're not. We're all the same. We all just got to be kinder to each other and applaud at other people's like small successes and like, let's just be cool with everybody because everyone can be at the top. Like, I think the world would be a better place if people kept it real, motivated each other, and just make this world a better place for all of us to thrive. Let's do it.
Right on. Well,
yeah,
I thought that was a nice mix of fun and self-development. We got into Franz Johansson. We got
I
into,
know, and I'm so excited to go read these. Like, I want to go. I
the
saw
Medici
all of his
Effect.
TED Talks right now.
That's the one I want you to read.
All over YouTube on his TED Talks. I love TED Talks.
Yeah, I did see he had a TED Talk too.
I really applaud what you're doing. I think you're changing the game. You are leading this, the next generation by providing like advice and however it might come out. Like, that's the thing. You don't know. I didn't know that I was going to get real deep like I just did. You guys, I'm just letting you know I'm not that deep in real life. Like, I'm a real weirdo. I like to have fun and do weird stuff, but I feel like there's a time when you can get real with people, and I thank you for, keeping it real on them streets and allowing me to go get gushy deep-hearted on you. I don't know. It's weird. Sorry. I have no idea that I was going to talk about all that stuff, but, I think you are doing a great job, and I've seen your lineup just grow, and, people want to talk about you, and I even, when your name gets brought up in the pits where I go and people talk about you, and it's really cool to see people's careers evolve and just letting you know that it is noticed. Keep going, keep slaying it. Let's all go slay some dreams together,
I'll tell you what, if there was a count of like the fun cliche terms or whatever, we had to like max out an account right there because that was a lot. I like it though.
I was thinking of maybe starting my own Pinterest, book thing of hashtag half the quotes I steal off Instagram or Pinterest, and then making my own. Like, those aren't all original, you guys. Okay, like I get some words from here. I like to mix some stuff. Like I sometimes need a little help on what I want to say, but
you know what?
I just try to keep it real. And if I'm being fake, I call myself on it too. And if you call me out on it, you better know that I'm going to take it. Because I appreciate someone calling me out on we all need to be humbled sometimes,
The one I highlighted, because I write down a lot of notes, that not everybody knows that, but more haters than appreciators. That's awesome. That is so funny. I love that.
And I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's something that and I say it with like the utmost like I don't know, not appreciation, but like it's almost the mom I made it moment when it turned from having more haters to actually, now I do have more appreciators, and it's cool because I got it from staying the same. I didn't conform, and I just took it because I knew that there was something I wanted to say. Like, I knew that if you just be your authentic self, like, people might not get it at first. Like, it's the same with the wheel. People didn't think that the wheel was going to get you to the ice cream truck or store or whatever. But if there's something that you want to say and you believe in your ideals and your message, like, preach, guys, preach it out. And I like what you said, like, no matter whatever you are, like, everybody has a story. Like, you do. Everyone can relate to someone else too. Like, don't be afraid to, share something, because everybody's kind of going through some shit in their life, and you never know, by being vulnerable can help other people feel like it's okay to go through that too. And I've learned that too. Like, I've learned to accept when I'm not the best version of myself and to be true about it and be like, you know what, it's okay. Like, I'm human, and maybe if I talk about it, there's other people out there who could help me through it too. Like, I kind of share some stuff on social media, not always to try to help people, but also because, you know what, I need help too. I like when people share their stories with me because I ain't got no answers. But yeah, I like it. Like, I don't come to my Instagram thinking that I know what's all up. I'm just trying to be real. And man, I love when people share their stories because we can, like, learn through all that. Like, I'm sure you've learned about a hell of a lot of stuff through talking to all these different people, right? Like, you've learned to probably challenge people's ideals. And, even Jim Riley, like, I'd like to tell him, because, I met Jim through the other Jim, through Jim Beaver.
Yeah.
And, Jim Riley is one of the nicest humans I've ever met. He's so, he's so giving, and, like, how he's gone about his career is very admirable. But, dude, one of the most important things I've learned for my own health is to say no sometimes. Like, I am a yes ma'am all the time. Like, I want to do everything. I want to go at 100 million miles an hour. But sometimes you just got to say, no, we can't. And, we got to prioritize and make sure that we are staying true and following our own ideals. And, yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. I actually have one thing to close on.
Everything.
This is one last thing to close on because I know we're at our limit here.
No, it's okay. No problem. Keep going. I like it. Let's switch it up.
So I have not been personally coached by Warren Buffett, at least not that I'm aware of. But either way, he has this thing that he does with people that he coaches where he'll say, hey, write down everything in your life that you want to accomplish, like all of your goals, all your dreams, everything you want to get done. And then prioritize them, 1 through whatever. So, typically people might write down, 100 things. And then he'll say, okay, circle the top 5. And then cross off all the other ones because you won't have time to do any of that. Like, you only have time for those top things. That goes to your point of saying, like, you do have to say no to some things. And actually, I'll tell you, one of the things that helped me a lot in life, I still have a lot more things that I need to, like, hone in on and back down on, but I started, like, really getting clutter out of my life, specifically with, like, hobbies. I was trying to, like, everything was my hobby for a couple years, and basically I had I had no time to do anything, so I started focusing on things. I was like, man, this is way better. Like, I'm actually getting to enjoy things instead of just stressing out about all these things that I'm not actually enjoying or not taking advantage of. So there's some few things there to learn from Mr. Buffett.
Well, I hate that. I'm like, you know what? I think this is, like, therapeutic for me too. I guess I'm like, man, we should just call this, like, the sponsored therapy class, like a podcast, like, it's. That's it. But I like to think now, and, like, just talking about that, and, like, I'm trying to think at the masses. Like, I like to try to make sure that I think outside of my own bubble, right? Like, because, and I try to listen now more. Like, I'm like, okay, what are you saying, and how do I think, and how can I relate, or do I even relate? What does that mean? Like, I'm trying to make sure that I don't like, that my opinion is not the opinion, right? Like, but then it's about validating both. And I think that the only way for me to validate what you're saying is to say, that doesn't work for me. Yeah. I like to be semi-Pinterester, half-ass Martha Stewarting, gardener, woodworker, cook, dirt biker, monster truck driver, skateboarder, filmer, YouTuber, Pinterester, Instagrammer, Facebooker, blah, 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 blah. I like to do all that, and that makes me who I am. And I feel like when I'm not, that's not me. I don't like to do one thing, but guess what? That's okay. that's okay. If you need to cut out everything in your life and focus on one thing. So I think what we can say, if we want to be Dr. Phil, whatever, I think that we need to be our own Dr. Phil and stop looking at these, what are they called, life coaches who want to preach on what is going to make you have the best life, because how the hell does that person know you? They don't know what's inside of you. They don't know what ignites your fire and, get, what your gears. Like, we are in control of our own destiny, if you want to get real deep. But again, just like dirt bikes, if whatever you want to do, you're the one who tells yourself, you're the one who sets your goals, you're the one who manifests your reality. Just go and do it. Find what you want to do. Trust yourself, believe in yourself, and that is all that matters. Do not listen to what everybody else says. Use it as education and tools, stuff to learn about yourself. But again, it's about you. Man, life is about you. It is making you happy. And then once you are happy, you're able to make your friends and your family, your love life, whatever. It starts with you, though. That's what I've learned also, that, dude, you can't be a good friend if you don't like yourself, and there's something you got to work on, right? Like, we have to figure our own shit out before we can, give it out there or whatever. I don't know. But, what works for me ain't going to work for everybody. I know people don't like to stay up for 17-hour days and do hot yoga and woodwork in the garage in their spare time. But that works for me. And I'm not going to go judge someone just because they don't like what I do, And I hope no one judges me for being weird like that, too.
No, I think that's good. And you know what? What has made me happy is this interview. But what has made me unhappy is that it's ending right now. Like, this is the end.
I know. I like it.
We're closing it out.
If you ever just want to talk about dirt bikes and, like, cool races and, cool jumps and stuff like that, call me back another day, because,
Perfect.
If the fans want to hear something else, let me know. I'm sorry I went all Dr. Phil on y'all, but sometimes you just got to say it. I hope you guys take something from this. I really applaud your success, and, your progression is so cool to see, and I hope you keep playing it. You will. You're following your mantra, man, doing what you like to do, and it shows.
Perfect. Well, hey, you have a fantastic rest of your evening, and I'm going to leave you with this. Have fun and ride safe.
You too, man. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the sponsored Rider Club podcast, which is powered by AMSOIL. Make sure you follow us on social media. Pay specific attention to our Facebook page. That's where we do our live shows. To get some insider access to upcoming guests, go ahead and check out the Sponsored Rider Club on Facebook. A special thanks goes out to the sponsors of this show: AMSOIL, SolderWeld, Bold Racing, TopThePodium.com, and Crash Addict Industries. And I also want to shout out some of our other partners: GSP XTV, MBRP, HMK USA, and Stud Boy Traction. I look forward to serving you again next week. Until then, have fun and ride safe.